Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the daily stock market update video. And today we'll be doing technical analysis of where the most likely scenario where the stock market is heading, as well as support resistance. So for levels that you guys can play off of and look into or set your stop losses, as well as we'll be looking at the 7 mega cap tech stocks, and like usual, so will give us better understanding of where QQQ will likely be heading because those are the biggest weightings in QQQ. And if you guys are looking for commodities, gold, natural gas, and silver, I have uploaded another video. So I'm going to do 2 videos a day now and see how that goes. Just going to test that out. And let's get started. So we are looking at QQQ. And before we start, let's take a look at the data real quick here and pull that in. So last week over the weekend, we were talking about Jackson Hole on Friday where Jerome was speaking. And what I got out of it was pretty neutral. He wasn't hawkish or dovish. And essentially that's what the market needed because market had a lot of fear going into that event because last year we tanked a lot of percent. I think it was like 6% in 2 days overall. I have to look back. And then we dropped even more after that. So there was a lot of fear going into that. So as long as Jerome was just normal, whatever he used to be saying, market liked it because there's no uncertainty. Market doesn't like uncertainty regardless if it's good or bad. But we are starting to price in a little bit of another rate hike here. You can see 47%. So market is likely thinking November is going to be another hike and then hold and then a cut. So, sorry, not a cut. And we'll see. So it was going to be a hold on September, but this could change just from the CPI data coming in. If we get a softer CPI data, this rate will very likely shift back to just a hold for the rest of the year. So now this is what's already pricing the market. And AAII sentiment data. So last week we talked about where this always comes in on Thursdays. So we were talking about where going into Jackson Hole as well. There's a very bearish week. So potentially this may be the peak week where it's bearish, and we might likely shift back slowly into a little bit of a bullish environment. Excuse me again. So that is what we're looking at the moment. So you guys will see in the moment in the charts where I showed you guys, or potentially this bounce may be the temporary bottom. It's starting to increase more probabilities in the last 2 days. And so we'll see if that happens. And for earnings, the only thing I'm looking at for this week would be AVGO and Broadcom, which is on Thursdays. Other than that, nothing too significant. And let's get started with the charts. So on the weekend, I said that we want to see the bulls set this Friday candle as our higher low, meaning this low is higher than prior low, our pivot. So that's how trends are set. So this is the initial move, right? This is one move. Doesn't mean we are in an uptrend here at all. The daily is a big move, and that's what we want to see. So gives us big enough room. Even we've had this significant pullback for 2 days, bulls still had room higher than this low to set a higher low for that bounce, right? So essentially, that's what bulls did. So they played defense here, and today they played another defense and offense here. And what I liked today was that we actually back tested, came back down, tested the 12 EMA. You guys know how I always talk about 12 EMA. If in the recent charts where it was acting as support, it's going to act as resistance where we're under it. It was acting as resistance on Friday. So when we gapped up over it, but it's going to act as support if we back tested it and bounced off of it. That was a good sign, because if we back tested it, right, and then closed under the 12 EMA, I would be a little bit concerned as a bull and be saying that the probability of us making a weekly downtrend would start to increase if that happened today. So far, the bulls are doing what the bulls want to see. Backtest, bounce. Now, their next goal is to break above, obviously, today's sideways action. You can see today, you have gone completely sideways. This was a bounce, went lower, and formed an equilibrium. So that was a tightening range, but we broke bullish out of that equilibrium at the end of the day in the last hour. But we still didn't get over that quadruple top. So very first step for me is to see bulls get over 367, and then we're coming back up to 371. This resistance zone. And if we get to that, then we're looking at Thursday's high, because we need to break Thursday's high over here for us to confirm a daily uptrend. So move, pivot now set. Now bulls need to break above Thursday's high for the daily uptrend to confirm. So we'll see if they can do that. If they can do that, we're now looking back at weekly bull flags. So essentially, weekly higher low is set here as well. And if daily uptrend confirms, now we're back to looking at weekly bull flags, potentially confirming again. But as of now, still too early to say that because we don't have a daily uptrend confirmed yet. And it can still be anybody's game here. If bears in the next couple of days take it down, break below this Monday's low right here at 354.71, that's a weekly downtrend confirming. And that would shape up a lot of more fear to come in, because on the monthly chart, you can see we have a tightening range. If that weekly downtrend confirms, we may potentially be tightening up. So we'll see. So yeah, so right now it's still anybody's game. But the back test of that 12 EMA and bounce, close at the high of the day, it's a good sign for the bulls today at least. So tomorrow, break above that quadruple top, 367, then bulls are looking pretty darn good. Currently, we're in a hourly uptrend. So let's take a look at S&P. S&P actually a lot closer than QQQ to its Thursday's high. Let's see here. 1.6%, and S&P is already almost there. Yep. So if tomorrow SPY confirms a daily uptrend, right, and QQQ has not yet, let's say QQQ bounces, breaks above that quadruple top, we come over here, right? There's gonna be some resistance here. Line down right there for you guys, see more clearly, right there. So this 370 is gonna act as a lot of resistance here. So the most likely scenario when SPY confirms a daily uptrend, let's say we get a green candle tomorrow right here, right? That's a daily uptrend confirm. Initial move, higher low set right there, breaking above the prior high. So that's a higher high. Now that's a daily uptrend confirming. Now, when daily uptrend confirms, the psychology of it is the bears will be looking over the shoulders, thinking, well, SPY is confirmed a daily uptrend now, right? We don't want to be trying to bring QQQ down now, because they'll feel more pressure on trying to cover their shorts, right? Let's say if SPY comes up, rejects, boom, drops down, the bears will have more confidence overall in the market to short, let's say QQQ, right? So we'll see if SPY is going to confirm that daily uptrend first, and then give confidence for QQQ to catch up in the later days. That's key, what I'll be looking at as well. But today, good sign as well. Back tested the 12 EMA, bounced, and so far, we are definitely closer to the high than to the low. So bulls are back to playing their offense. But same thing with QQQ. Need to break this quadruple top tomorrow, right? You can still reject it from there, come back down, and next thing you know, it just takes one day. 1%, we're at the bottom of the range again, right? So bulls are not out of the woods yet, let's just say. Until they show me that they have confirmed their daily uptrend, bulls at this moment are not out of the woods yet. But they have showed us in the last 2 days that they are willing to play defense and a little bit of offense today. So we just need to see that continue. But at this moment, we're still in that kind of battle zone where it can still be anybody's game. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Let's see. Tesla, we're looking at, it was a bull break out of this quadruple top, but lacking some follow through there. But at the same time, we didn't close at the lows. So still can still be Bulls game for sure. But it was definitely a little bit weaker than QQQ today. Let's see, maybe a rising wedge. Let's see here. Looks slightly, let's see here. A little bit of a rising wedge resistance here for me. Looks like it. Because rising wedges are bull breaks, lacking follow through. So see this high right there? When we broke above it, we're above the prior high just by a tiny bit, and then it's lacking follow through again. Over here again, see we are just slightly higher than this high, and then we lack follow through again. But the good thing is, every time we drop, is our higher when we bounce, right? Higher. It's higher than that's a good sign. So we want to see this rising wedge break out of this thing bullish on the bull side. Obviously, if you're bear, you want to see this break down the bear side. And, so we'll see. This will likely break tomorrow, actually. So key watch for me is that rising wedge. See if we break out of it tomorrow on the hourly chart. We can do the 4 hour. It's pretty clear on the 4 hour. See all this this rising wedge. And so tomorrow, if QQQ goes green and Tesla breaks out of this rising wedge bearish on the bear side, that's a huge red flag. That would be a weekly bull bear flag probably. Let's see here. Weekly bear flags. They're slightly not in a weekly bear flag, but it looks like a monthly bear flag though. So we go to the monthly. Nope, not a monthly bear flag. So if we break it out that is bearish while QQQ was green, then that's a big red flag. We're probably going to come down to test this teal looking line support. That would be super weak compared to the overall market. And we already sold off this much for it to break out of this in the bear side. That's a little bit of a red flag. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow if it breaks out of this bullish or bearish. We also did back test the 12 EMA and bounce off of it. So it's a good sign so far, but not a lot of follow through until we can see break out of this wedge. All right, Nvidia. Nvidia. So over the weekend, I talked about where Nvidia has been weak on Thursdays and Friday, relatively compared to the overall QQQ market. And today, it was also weak in the first half of the morning, but it ended up outperforming in the second half of the day. So when market opened, we pretty much dropped like a waterfall and back tested the Friday's support. So this 450 zone, you can see it's resistance, support and resistance, resistance support level. So when we came back down to test it again, when bulls held this level, played defense, then that was it. Bears think that they couldn't get over. If they can't get over this double bottom level, then bears aren't going anywhere. So essentially, that was where the V shape bounced, and we bounced over the prior hourly pivot. So it was an hourly downtrend now, back above to a neutral trend now. So this hourly is currently in a neutral trend, but this V shape gave us enough room where Nvidia can change the trend back to an hourly uptrend. So you can see it was a 4.75% bounce. That's what I was talking about. It outperformed the second half of the day, essentially. So the question is Nvidia going to be outperforming now again, just like it used to be outperforming back here? Or might go back to weakness? So relative strength and relative weakness changes when a stock hits support or resistance. So when it hits support and can't get through anymore, it can change to relative strength. Versus also as well, when it hits a resistance and it can't get over it, it can also turn into relative weakness. As of now, today is relative strength. And what I want to see is confirmed to an hourly uptrend, that strength to continue. And that continues, we're likely coming back up to test 480. And for you bears, very clear, very clear support you guys want to break is this double bottom support of 450. And if you guys can't break that, I'll likely just cover and re-add once it breaks through it, right? So there's two ways you can do that. You add the second it breaks through it, or you add after it breaks through it when it retests and rejects. So you add at that second time, depending on if you're more conservative or aggressive bear, it's up to you. Or you play on resistance. When it comes up to here, you add for the rejection. But this could just be a small rejection and then go back higher. So it depends on what kind of style you guys want to play. But these are the levels. All right, let's take a look at Apple. So Apple here. So V-shaped. Last week I talked about where we're going to be able to get a bear break and V-shaped due to the amount of drop it's been dropping. It's very unlikely where Apple just drops 12% and then keeps on going. So I was talking about it over here where it can likely just get a dump out of that and then V-shape. Essentially, that's what we got. Check last week's video where I was talking about this area. And now we are actually shaping up a daily uptrend a lot more clear than QQQ. You guys know how QQQ, look how much room there still is, 1.6% here before it shapes a daily uptrend, right? Look at how close Apple is. Apple just needs 0.45, just call it 0.5%. So we need to break above Tuesday's high. And then that's a daily uptrend confirmed. So that's the pivot set now. So this is the higher low, that's the benchmark. That's where bears want to break below. And this is also where bulls want to hold. But now bulls are playing offense. So their next level is 181.55. If that breaks, then Apple is back in a daily uptrend. And if Apple goes back to a daily uptrend, right, and some of other these big tech goes back to a daily uptrend, then guess what? The most likely scenario for QQQ is going to be potentially it's going to go up to daily uptrend as well. So that's why we always look at these 7 mega cap tech stocks, because some of them might be in a daily uptrend, but some won't. But we will see if, let's say, 3 out of 5 of them, 3 out of 5 are in a daily uptrend, then very likely the rest are going to follow on the uptrend and then get QQQ back up to daily uptrend as well. But if, let's say, only 1 out of 5 of them are in a daily uptrend and the rest are not, then we can't confidently say QQQ is going to give us a daily uptrend, right? So looking at these 7 gives us a better probability of knowing where QQQ will likely go. And from the looks of Apple, if we just get a 0.5%, right, that's a daily uptrend confirmed. And we'll see if the rest, we'll be looking at the rest in a second, and we'll see if they can follow. And I like where Apple backtests its 12 EMA as well in the morning on that backdrop. So, which you can see Apple uses 12 EMA a lot as support, right? Especially on the 2-day time frame. That thing was bouncing for like 6 months on it, exactly on the spot if you go to the 2-day time frame. And let's see if it's okay. So you can see right here on the 2-day time frame, bounce, 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 bounce. And we did reject it from here last Wednesday. So what I want to see when Apple confirms that daily uptrend on the daily time frame, right? I want to see us get over this 2-day EMA 12 because it's going to act as very strong resistance when we come up to it again. So super key for Apple this week actually, and if Apple can break above that, then it may likely help carry the market a little bit. So that is top watch for me actually. This 2-day 12 EMA 12, and it's daily uptrend. 81.55 and EMA 12 would be at 181. So pretty much the same spot. It comes from a daily uptrend. It will also break above 2-day EMA 12. So very key here. All right. All right, Amazon. So Amazon is definitely on the weaker end of the mega cap techs. You can see on this drop where everybody made a higher low, meaning the low is higher than this low, Amazon made a lower low. So Amazon's this low is lower than the prior low. So that's a daily downtrend confirming, and it's still in a daily downtrend on a weak bounce. So like I said, so Amazon's on team bear at the moment, and Apple is more on team bull. So we'll see in a second where the rest of them are. So now it's 1 and 1, and but on this bounce, Amazon did play defense, right? So this initial bounce, And on the hourly chart, you can see bulls are trying to hold this level where it's higher than this level. So it's a higher low. Now they need to break above today's high for an hourly uptrend to confirm. So very first step of any trend changes in the bear side or the bull side is an hourly trend change. And currently, Amazon bulls don't even have an hourly uptrend yet. So that's the very first step that you need to do. So if they can't even get an hourly uptrend, then that daily downtrend overall on the daily time frame is going to continue to be intact. You can see this daily downtrend right here. So let's say Amazon bulls on this bounce can't even get a hourly uptrend. Guess what? The next pivot they're going to set is still a daily downtrend. Right? Let's say they reject it from here. So that's the top. This is a lower high, meaning the high of the pivot is lower than prior high. This next one is also going to be lower than the prior high if the bulls can't confirm even an hourly uptrend, right? The daily downtrend would be intact and still continuing. So first step for bulls, hourly uptrend. And for you bears, if they can't get over 134, bears are absolutely comfortable at the moment. Nothing for them to worry about. So we'll see. All right, Google. And Google, same thing. Been like this for a couple weeks. Just this sideways chop zone. This 133 and this 127. So essentially, until Google shows us where it wants to go, it's just going to be in this zone. But we can take a look at where it's starting to shape up that look as well. So now the pivot right here, set higher low, meaning it's higher than this low, right? You guys can see on this bounce higher. So the question is, can Google break 134.25 this Thursday's high to confirm a daily uptrend? So if it can do that, it's a confirmed daily uptrend as well as taking out of the sideways zone, bullish. So that would be a two breaks, and that will likely give us Google to back to 52 highs. You can see, which we're starting to test this top of this 2021 high zone now. You can see which is a low of the zone, right? Coincides with the top of this current chop zone, right? And so if we do break above that, we will likely come to 135 level right there. So let's put a line at 135. That's our next target. Here. So if Google can confirm a daily uptrend and break out of the chop zone, we are now looking back up to 135.3. And if they can't, well, it's probably just going to come back down to test this 127 again in this chop zone. So now, not much fireworks in Google, and we'll see when it wants to break out of its zone. And I'll call this team neutral. So I don't want to say this is bear or bull, but more so closer to bull than bear, because you can see how close Google is to its 2.3% for a break into a daily uptrend versus a 3.6% to the downside to confirm the downtrend. So yeah, I'll call it team neutral. So let's take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft is also similar to most of the other tech stocks and QQQ itself, but this wick just very annoying is how big it is. So same thing, initial move, very big bounce. So that's very good for the bulls. A lot of room to work with, and it also held a lot higher than its lower high. You can see Google almost made a lower low here. Microsoft has still had a lot of room to work with. Bounced, so that's decent. But today, it just kind of very lackluster for Microsoft. You can see while Nvidia was bouncing, V-shaping, and Apple also bouncing, Microsoft kind of just kind of sideways and not doing much and trending down a little bit actually on it hourly. So that's a pretty weak bounce to me, and we can't even get over 325, which is Friday's resistance. While everyone else was trading above Friday's resistance, Microsoft was trading within it. And you can see we test in the morning, test here again, and still couldn't get over it. But you can say we did shape up a higher low on this level playing defense at 322. So what I want to see tomorrow is Microsoft break out of that 325 and both today's high as well to confirm the trend, hourly trend, back to their favor. As of now, we still got a lot of ways to go to get that daily uptrend because that's 2.8%. It's quite a ways away, you can see, for Microsoft to confirm that trend change. But it's still on the table, so it's not like Microsoft didn't bounce today doesn't mean it's game over, right? Still above the 12 EMA, back tested as well, and that it wasn't as strong as the other tech today. So very key, and that 325 zone. And Meta. So Meta is a lot closer to where it's zone as well, even though it's 3.5%, but Meta is more volatile overall. It's can make bigger moves than Microsoft. Same thing. It's a big enough move where it favors the bulls, and it actually held a higher low. Now we are getting close to a daily uptrend. Let's see how many. So we're 5.2% away from the bottom, 3.3% from the top. And we'll see if this 300 can be broken. So when Meta comes up here, it's going to be two resistance. It's going to be 300 level of resistance, psychological resistance, and this 298 and 299 resistance, and this Thursday's resistance of is high because it can just come up, act as a double top, reject from it. So personally, I think it will reject from it initially, like especially on the lower term time frames, like 5 minutes or 15 minutes, even maybe the hourly. And we get a small rejection, and the market continues to be strong, then very likely we're going to break above that and confirm a daily uptrend. That's the most likely scenario. But before that, we still need to break above the 12 EMA. This teal looking line, see, rejection right there, rejection right here, another rejection here, another rejection here. So when we come back up to that, that's the first thing bulls need to break. If we can break above that, then we're coming on to test this last boss resistance of the 300 zone. And for you bears, very obvious, we got to break below Friday's low to continue. See if this that would be a continuation of the daily downtrend if we do break below these lows. Because currently the pivot is here, and we did not bounce big enough to go into a neutral trend, so it's still technically in a daily downtrend. So if the bears bring the stack down because it's still in daily downtrend, then it will continue to be a daily downtrend, and it will be likely shaping up a weekly downtrend as well. When I talked about that on QQQ, it will also shape up on these charts as well. Although Meta didn't make a weekly pivot, so this is still just one initial move. Say we bounce above this candle next week and then come back down, break below this low, then that's a weekly downtrend. But as of now, no signs of that yet. And hourly chart looks like a V shape. And now we need to confirm the hourly uptrend, although it did already technically. Up the move, the pivot set. We still need to break above this candle, the 291 for hourly uptrend confirmed. Break above that, and then the 12 EMA, and then you guys are coming up to the 300 to test this zone. 3 levels to look at. All right, that's all I got for you guys. And if you guys made it this far or learned anything, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment if you guys have any questions. Let me know. And if you guys are watching the commodities video, I'll be uploading right after this one. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for more market updates.